Brother lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. According to the Independent, Arsenal and Westham are very close to agreeing a deal for Declan Rice. Now, Arsenal have made their official offer, 90 million rising to 100. There is still a difference in terms of valuation, but according to Miguel Delaney, there will be a consensus very, very soon. We'll be talking about that. There is a possibility of Emile Smith Rowe being included into this deal. West Ham do like 100 million plus another player, and Emile Smith Rowe is the player that West Ham want from Arsenal. But of course, we're going to be talking about that and the structure, which is still the big problem. West Ham want all the 100 million paid within 2 years until 2025. Arsenal feel that is a little bit difficult for them to do. They would love to pay maybe 90 million, and that should be spread out maybe across a period of 5 years. You know, we are Arsenal. We always do that. But hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast, and let me know in the comment box below. Do you think Emile Smith Rowe should be let to go to West Ham in a deal that could bring Declan Rice to Arsenal? How are we feeling about some kind of player plus cash if we are adding Emile Smith Rowe? I wouldn't have a problem if you're adding a player like Albert Lokonga, but Emile Smith Rowe, the quality, our number 10, the new Dennis Parkham. How are we feeling about that? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Now, I also want us to talk about this story. It comes in from the Football.London, and it says that Stan Kroenke has told Arsenal that after this summer, we have to run a self-sustainability model. And that means that Stan Kroenke will not be injecting huge amounts of cash into Arsenal after this summer. After maybe building the midfield, he's already rebuilt the defense. He's already rebuilt the attacking line. He won't be splashing a lot of cash onto the team in the coming summers. It has to be self-sustainable. That means that whatever money we make, that is, that will be what we spend. And that could include potentially selling some of the stars we are looking at in this team. But of course, we're going to be diving into that as well. Arsenal are looking at Nico Williams from Spain at Atletico Bilbao. We'll be talking about that story. Of course, we know how much it's going to be costing, around 50 million euros, which is in his release clause, unless Arsenal can negotiate their way around that. And Granit Xhaka is also going to be leaving. According to Fabrizio Romano, there are no changes, despite the fact that Arsenal have not yet agreed a deal with Declan Rice. Hit the like button. Let's get this video to 500 likes. Let's join the conversation. Should Emile Smith Rowe this morning be added to a deal to bring Declan Rice? A price agreement is very close, but it could include Emile Smith Rowe. How are we feeling about that? Right, so let's dive into the stories. And of course, the major story today comes in from Miguel Delaney, chief reporter, chief football writer at the Independent, and he says that there is big progress with Arsenal, in this deal, although there is still some way apart from West Ham, United as regards to how the purchase is going to be made. A fee is almost agreed, but West Ham want the payment to be made over only 2 installments. That is from the game newsletter at the Independent. All right, so listen, I've always thought with the Declan Rice thing that Arsenal wanted to go with a statement of intent, right? There's so many central midfielders that we could get for 35, 40 million euros, right? Alexis McAllister is one of them. We could have signed him for around 35 million euros if Arsenal did press on with Liverpool. We have UCL football. Probably him winning the World Cup could just make his dreams bigger, and he would go, let me play in the UEFA Champions League right after winning the UEFA Champions, right after winning the FIFA World Cup. The players like Nicolo Barella, who could cost us around 70 million euros. Again, that is very, lower, significantly lower as compared to Declan Rice. There are players like Sandro Tonali. There's so many other players. But I think with Declan Rice, Mikel Arteta, Edu, and whoever is running the transfer spin at Arsenal has decided that we go with a statement of intent. More like an Erling Haaland signing, more like a Kevin De Bruyne signing. That kind of signing that you sign for the club. And it's going to be there for 8 years, 9 years. and is potentially Rice could become an Arsenal captain if maybe one day Odegaard moves on, all right? And I really love the perspective of Jack Wilshere when he says that one day Decas could be an Arsenal captain when maybe Odegaard moves on to another club or his career ends at Arsenal. So the positive here is that the price is very close to being our grade. There are no problems with the price, and I'm very, very glad and very, very happy to hear that from a very independent, like their name, and very, very credible source like The Independent, right? So Mikel Delaney says that a fee is very close to being our grade. A fee is almost our grade, but the problem is the structure, right? So let's talk about the structure and what Westham are expecting. One, they would love us to pay 100 million for Declan Rice. So that is the expectation, that is the anticipation. And according to many of the credible sources I've been hearing and listening to, it seems that the Jude Bellingham's story has actually propelled West Ham into thinking anyone is going to pay some crazy money for an English wonder kid. 24 years of age, Declan Rice is entering into his prime. Played in the UEFA Conference League, and he's won it. Played in the Premier League at a consistent basis, and he's been one of the best defensive midfielders and central midfielders in the Premier League. They believe that if a 19-year-old Jude Bellingham has gone for 103 million euros, then Declan Rice, without a question, should be going for 100 million pounds, which I think is a little bit crazy because Bellingham, for me, I don't know, but I feel Bellingham is a much better player than Declan Rice, and I would rate Bellingham and I would buy Bellingham at 100 million pounds. And I wouldn't pay 100 million pounds for Declan Rice unless it is political and all the reasons that we've talked about, statement of intent and things like that, all right? But West Ham feel if Bellingham is 100, then Declan Rice has to be 100. Of course, we have the likes of Anthony, Grealish, all those signings that have just spoiled the market. They're not good signings. They're not mucky. They're not even mucky signings, right? But they just got on to spoil the market. And I think Arsenal right now, we have our hands tied. So the structure then is that money, which is 100 million, should be paid within 2 installments. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. They're asking Arsenal to let go of 50 million per year to West Ham, just to the signature of Declan Rice. Now, with Jude Bellingham, what I'm hearing is that money could be paid across 4-5 years. The 103 million euros could be paid across 4-5 years. Okay, and I think that is how big deals have been made. The likes of Jadon Sancho, I think United paid that money in a couple of installments, and it just makes the deal a little bit easier, but then it just makes the deal more lucrative to a club like Arsenal, to a club like Madrid, and all these other clubs that are making very, very huge signings. Across 2 installments, for us to pay 100 million from now to 2025, that could mean very big, consequences financially, and that could be detrimental to our, financial, accounts and books. For me, I think West Ham should be looking at 4 installments across 4 years. Right. Of course, you understand what's going to happen here. They want to bring in Sofian Amrabat. They want to look at Edson Alvarez. They want to look at Paulinho. They want multiple replacements of Declan Rice. But let's be honest, West Ham do not pay for their players up front. There are a few times where players have been paid for up front. But even Mikhail Modric, I think it was around maybe 40 or 30 million pounds up front, then another 30 or 40 in fixed and guaranteed payments paid across installments, and then bonuses, all right? So for me, 100 million, the structure is still unfavorable for Arsenal. 2 installments, that is difficult. We have to sign other players. We have to sign Moises Caicedo. We have to sign Joao Cancelo. There's so many signings, huge marquee signings, for us to sign if you're going to do this deal with West Ham in this way. Now, potentially, the other way that this could happen is if Arsenal add a player to the deal. West Ham have cited Emile Smith Rowe as one of the players that they would love to be included in this deal. Mikel Arteta has made it very clear over the past few weeks that he doesn't have any intentions of letting Emile Smith Rowe go, doesn't want to sell him, has no plans of letting Emile Smith Rowe out of the team. To be honest, Emile Smith Rowe is our number 10, our shot number 10. For all the right or wrong reasons, Emile Smith Rowe should be starting for Arsenal. Had a very, very good campaign. I think that was 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023. Injuries and a couple of, I think, lack of belief from the manager. And maybe the stigma from the long-term injury has actually deterred his progress. But listen, Gabriel Martinelli has been on fire this season. Last campaign, Gabriel Martinelli was, the injury-prone prick that we know, all right? So for me, Smith Rowe in the deal, no. We can't give them Lokonga. We can't give them Kyren. We can't give them Rob Holding. Now that they have Naif Agad and, Zuma, probably Rob Holding would be an insult if we proposed it to the deal. But we could give them... we have some players we could give them. Maybe Reece Nelson in that deal. Just sign a new deal. Makes him more valuable. He's a good player, more direct. Bowen on one side, Nelson on the other. I just think there's so many other options to settle this rather than putting Emile Smith Rowe. Now, I know there are times when you have to bite the bullet. I know there are times when you have to, decide to sell. But it's not Emile Smith Rowe's time. I would give Emile Smith Rowe another full season with UEFA Champions League, with the Premier League, FA Cup, and all these other competitions, and see if it doesn't develop into what Martinelli has become. Then we might have the conversation at the end of the coming season. All right, at the end of the coming season, but not now. So for me, Emile Smith Rowe, that's a bad deal. Like, absolutely a very, very poor deal, right? So Stan Kroenke is looking at in the next story, Stan Kroenke is looking at self-sustainability model, and this could be one last grand summer for Arsenal. Now, of course, you have to understand that ever since Mikel Arteta came in the December of 2019, Arsenal have had 3 very, very strong summers: the summer of 2020, 2021, and 2022. So the summer of 2023, which we are in right now, could be the last dance on the big stage. And Stan Kroenke has vowed to give Arsenal over 200 million euros in expenditure just to spend on signings, as long as we can promise a self-sustaining model. Now, I think Kroenke has done well. Like, in the last 4 years, he's done well. In terms of, ripping the club apart and rebuilding it, in terms of signings, in terms of, the management of the team. I can't say we have one of the most well-run clubs, at the moment, but I can say we do not spend money in a reckless way, which is actually a very, very big positive, okay? So, the self-sustainability model is to our own health and our own benefit. But, and this is a very big but, he's got to keep on spending. He knows this. He's got to keep on spending. The rivalry now, as compared to 10, 15 years ago, when he took over Arsenal, when he completely took over Arsenal, is very different. In 2011, you had a Leicester City that you were competing with, a Tottenham Hotspur of Daniel Levy, a Manchester United of the Glazers that do not even give a shit about the club, and an upcoming Manchester City who we even didn't know were going to become this huge and massive, and a West Ham who never knew that they would win the UEFA Conference League, just to say. Fast forward 15 years later, right now, Arsenal are competing with Newcastle, the world's richest club. Man United are potentially being taken over by Qatar in the next few days. That should be confirmed. That makes them the world's richest club. Liverpool are one of the most well-run clubs in the world. And Tottenham, Chelsea also have got big budgets. I think what Kroenke is getting wrong here is that he's not doing us a service by spending money on the club. He's actually doing himself a service. One, to stay as custodian of the club. You don't want what has happened to Mashiri at Everton to happen to you. Every single day, fans protesting for you to get out of their club. You don't want that to happen. You definitely don't want that to happen, right? So for me, self-sustainability is good. It means Arsenal will be a valuable club. It means that when Kroenke decides to sell, he will get a lot of money and very, very good money. It also means that Arsenal can essentially make good money to buy players on themselves. But that means that we might have to sell some of the players in this project. I won't be surprised if it reaches one day and Odegaard is leaving for 100 million or 80 million. I won't be surprised if Martinelli is leaving one day for 70 million euros, right? So it's two-way. If he wants to invest money and is committed to that, then he's got to keep on investing. Otherwise, whatever he's built in the next 5 years could actually calm down. But self-sustainability is not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout at all. According to Gianluca Lungari, Arsenal interested in signing Nico Williams from Atletico Bilbao. He has a release clause of 50 million euros. That's around 44 million pounds. It could be negotiated below that, but we will see what happens with that. And Fabrizio Romano has said there is no changes with Granit Xhaka. A deal has already been agreed with Bayer Leverkusen, and Arsenal are just waiting to sign a replacement in Declan Rice. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well, and I'll see you right in the next one.